Hello, welcome back to this tutorial. I've got to start with an apology because I've not this part has been a long time coming. I've had quite a few comments on the previous videos in this series of people who've really enjoyed them and were liking what I was doing and like saying, when's the next part? And I keep saying, yeah, it's coming. It's been a long time, so I promise I will try and get this series finished off between now and the end of the year. I've just been stupidly busy for the last 6 months. I've as well as doing my own Rezzonator stuff, I'm now the drummer in 2 other bands, so I've been working all that out. And anyway, so that's why we're back on this now. And I apologise, I'm not using my normal microphone for this as well, so if it sounds a little bit echoey, I apologise. So, what are we doing in this video? Well, this one's fairly straightforward. We're just going to kind of improve the look of Push with a bit of probably a slightly more advanced MIDI mapping, just to help us get a bit more visual feedback from the lights on Push. Mostly, the only thing is we're going to look at is the crossfader thing at the bottom. So the setup, so I basically got it as it was in the previous thing. The songs in here are slightly different because I couldn't find my original project. It's been that long since I've done it. So I've chucked a few of my tunes in here. So setup is as it was in the previous part. We've got deck A, deck B, we've got the crossfader down here, and we've mapped the top 2 buttons. So this is the play button for deck A, so if we press that, actually no, it won't work yet because remember we have to be in user mode. So I've mapped it in user mode, so that's the play button for deck A. The button below it will stop it, and there's deck B. Now my crossfader is all the way over on here, so as I go across, okay, let's get deck A playing. Okay, brilliant. So we're all working like that. That's all sounding pretty cool, and we're sort of good to go. We are where we left off in the previous example, the previous video, and obviously we looked at launch properties and clip envelopes and all that kind of thing. Now you can probably tell straight away the problem I had with that was I have no idea, without looking at the screen down here, where the crossfader is. I've got no visual feedback on Push, which, you know, from if you're kind of doing DJ set performing, is that you don't want to be looking at your screen all the time. We're using this as a controller, so let's have some visual feedback of this on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have lights across here that will show us the position of our crossfader, which is pretty straightforward to do, and we're going to do it using what are called dummy MIDI clips. So first thing we're going to do is just create a new MIDI track. So on a PC, that is Control Shift and T. That's the shortcut for doing that. Let's just bring this across over here, and we're going to rename it Crossfader Lights, like so. Now we've got 8 buttons across here, so we're going to want 8 dummy MIDI clips in here. So dummy MIDI clips are basically just blank MIDI clips that has nothing in them. So if I just click on the top one here, it's going to create me a 1 bar MIDI clip, which is great. So that's all I need. And then I'm going to just highlight that, Control D, and we're going to duplicate that down 8 times. So we've now got 8 dummy MIDI clips. So what we're going to do is we're going to map each of these MIDI clips here to the buttons along the bottom. So same as we've done before in previous videos, making sure we're in user mode on Push, we're going to click MIDI up here to go into MIDI mapping mode, and then all we're going to do is click on the play button and then press that button on here. You can see it's now mapped to that button, so we're going to just go along all of those and map them accordingly. Perfect, so they are now all mapped. So if I now play that track there, just turn it down a little bit. Okay, as I go across here, you can see we've now got some sort of visual feedback of the position of the crossfader. Now it's not ideal at the moment because, as you can see, as I go across, okay, sometimes we get too lit up and before it kind of finishes in its last position. That's because these clips here that are playing, these dummy clips, are following the global quantization, which is 1 bar. So if I press that and that one's going to wait to the end of the bar to finish playing before that one starts, and then it goes this kind of light colour like this. So we need to eliminate that. So the easiest way to do that, or the way to do it, not the easiest way to do it, is if we look at just one of the clips at the moment. I remember, I think if you've watched one of the previous videos, we went through launch clip properties. and we've got a quantization setting for each clip. So at the moment you can see the quantization is following global, so that's why that, if we go to that, okay, it's going to wait for the end of the bar before it moves on and it turns off. So basically we want to set this to none, so it's just kind of like an instant on and off. So we don't need to do it one at a time. We can highlight all those clips. So let's just highlight the top one and then we'll scroll down to the bottom one. I'll hold down shift and press that, and then we've now got, you can see here it says 8 MIDI clips selected. So if we go to quantization, put that on none. Now, as you see, we go across, we don't get the problem with two lights. It just goes straight across like that, and we can see the exact position of the crossfader. So play track 1. Let's have track 1, track 2 playing. See, at the moment the crossfader is all the way over this side, which you can see on here. So as I press on along these buttons, you'll see the crossfader move across. Okay. Okay, so that's a nice way of having that visual feedback on there. The only downside to it, which you can't get away with, is obviously when we've got this the crossfader selected all the way onto the left, obviously we can still see that deck A is playing there. Now, unfortunately what happens is when we go across with the crossfader, you can see on the screen, it's now kind of selected this scene, which means that's the one that's playing is now kind of off the screen of push, so you would have to just scroll back up to get to the decks that are playing. Okay, not a problem so much if you've got like this one down here playing. He says, there it is. Okay, but yeah, you're occasionally going to lose that visual feedback of where that one is playing, but all you got to do is just scroll up and down to find it again. But you know, it's a nice way of having that visual feedback on your crossfader. So hopefully that's of some use for this one. There are several more videos in this series to come, which I like to say, hopefully between now and the end of the year I will get all of those recorded and uploaded. So usual things, if you've got any comments or questions or suggestions for future videos, please stick them in the comments box below. I am getting back into getting a load more videos done now, so I'll try and accommodate any of those. And yeah, check my music out, Spotify, Apple Music, all the usual places. It's Rezzonator, and there's links in the description and all sorts for that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part. Cheers.